right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Modern Endpoint Management Innovation. My name is Steve Dispensa. I am the Corporate Vice President of Product for Intune and ConfigMan.
I'm Ramya Chitrakar, and I'm Corporate Vice President of Engineering for Intune and Config Manager.
All right, so we're going to do this in two parts. I'm going to start out with a little bit about Cloud Native and the Intune Suite with some demos, and then Ramya will...
I'll come back and talk about data and AI, and really excited for the session today.
Cool. All right. It's lovely to have a full house, by the way. It's so great to be doing this in person here and hybrid for the folks online. OK, so as leaders of your security and technology teams, you've joined us here today for a reason. It is because security is top of mind for you and for everybody here. And you already know that endpoint management is foundational to a zero-trust security architecture. Prevention is by far the best strategy to protect against cyber attacks and data breaches, and it requires a proactive and comprehensive approach to all aspects of security. So it's the role of endpoint management and it's the responsibility of Microsoft Intune to provide security and compliance attestation for devices accessing your company data. Today, we're going to talk about innovation that is shaping the endpoint and security management world. First of all, it starts with accelerating cloud adoption for endpoint management. Establishing a digital estate from the cloud, evolving modern management beyond hybrid to building your defense in depth strategy with a cloud native approach. The outcome? Faster time to value, security value, better experience value, and not least of all, simplification and reduced total cost of ownership for you. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. We're going to share how unified endpoint management, in its truest sense, in its literal sense, can help you be better defenders from increasingly sophisticated cybersecurity risks with innovation that extends from the device, the PC, the operating system, all the way through to the cloud, as well as to the apps that your people use every day in order to be productive. And of course, AI. So we're all part of the community rallying against cyber criminals and nation-state actors. We need to leverage the power of AI to detect and respond to security risks at machine speed. We're going to share key announcements today that demonstrate the capabilities of Microsoft Intune with Security Copilot that do just that. The world in which we live is changing. It's changing fast, and Microsoft is changing with it. With Intune, the Intune Suite, and our deep integration with Security Copilot, we're going to tell you about enabling technologies to accelerate your digital transformation simply and securely. So it starts with Cloud Native. I've been talking to customers for months around the globe, and there are several factors that are driving customers to adopt a Cloud Native management model. So what does that modern management approach really mean? Simplicity, consistency, and comprehensive security. Cloud Native means, first, a zero-touch deployment approach used for all of your Windows and other devices, pre-configured to meet your business needs. Second, user identity is purely cloud-based. Third, enrolled devices are cloud-managed exclusively and can receive apps and configuration dynamically and be reset or restored from the cloud. And finally, defense in-depth security, applied at scale through cloud-integrated solutions to stay ahead of cyber criminals. If you think through the life cycle of endpoint management, a purely cloud-managed approach and end-user computing estate is better at every step of the way. Deployment of devices is easier. That's an area where IT spends a ton of time and money, whether they're cloud PCs running Windows 365 or new Windows devices. The same goes, obviously, for mobile devices and Macs. Fortified security with hardware-backed attestation can be enabled on Windows and Android to avoid spoofing, which is a crucial mechanism to verify device trust all the way down to the silicon and help detect if a device has been compromised even at its deepest levels. Driver and firmware updates are now more straightforward, especially now with general availability of driver and firmware updates directly in the Intune console. And with Windows Auto Patch, you can automate the rollout of drivers and firmware and patches across your deployment rings with granular controls that ensure that your endpoints always stay current. And finally, staying current includes ensuring that your applications are up to date. This is required across platforms. When your devices are managed from the cloud, Intune can update apps on your Mac and Windows devices consistently and seamlessly. That consistency also applies to security. So Intune's integration points across the Microsoft security portfolio are closely tied together through the Microsoft Cloud. Let's start with Intune and Entra, the foundations for modern device management and modern identity management. They work together to allow you to embrace a cloud-centric approach while ensuring robust security, compliance, and user provisioning. Or we can talk about Intune, Defender, and Sentinel, which create a comprehensive security coverage that spans endpoint management, threat protection, detection, and response. Or you can talk about Intune and Purview, which enable you to know where your data is across the digital estate while gaining visibility to manage data securely across platforms, apps, and clouds with information protection, data governance, management, and compliance. Intune protects hundreds of millions of users and devices. And increasingly, they are now managed exclusively in the cloud. We continue to focus on the foundations, the quality and functionality, of course, of our endpoint management platform. Over 80% of Windows 11 devices were provisioned natively in the cloud. That's a big step forward. Furthermore, over 50% of users are protected through mobile application management app protection policies. These are policies that don't require the full management of a personally owned device. And finally, large enterprise customers are migrating tens of thousands of Windows, Mac, and mobile devices to cloud-native management for simpler, faster, and more secure deployment and management. But don't take my word for it. Let's listen to our customer and partner, Craig Nelson from Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, who has embraced cloud management across mobile, Mac, and Windows devices.
Here at Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, we pride being quick and fast and secure. We have a device environment around 160,000 devices worldwide, such as Android and iOS, and PCs and Mac devices. Trying to make sure that we keep everything up to date. It became quite a challenge. We used to set up PCs on the legacy domain. It took a couple of hours. It was a couple of phone calls to the service desk. Maybe your manager had to get involved, give you codes. With Intune, now on all of our mobile devices, and that protects all of our applications from intrusion and keeps the end user separate from their personal life and their work life. After that, we rolled into full device management structure on the PCs, about 86,000 devices enrolled today. The wide variety of options and agility we have allows us to meet all of our service gaps. Identity access management, it's constantly evolving in how we log in, how we maintain passwords. We have Windows Hello for business and Autopilot for PC setup. It allows us to be secure, agile, and quick at the speed and the pace of business. Intune is cloud. I don't have to worry about infrastructure or power consumption. Over the next 18 months, we'll transition every device out of the on-prem domain. We want to utilize technology, leaving a positive footprint. Intune gave us all of that through the cloud. I can create a policy within a matter of minutes, and I can have that out to machines in 24 to 48 hours. We're able to see all the devices all the time. I don't have to wait for check-ins. I can now set up a PC for an end user in under 30 minutes. They can open the box and get to work in the first hour. It's a game changer. Intune has had a marvelous impact on our end users. Our CSAT scores are the highest they've ever been at 98%. I have not yet experienced a part of Intune that was not a great evolution that we would not use. So we will continue to stay in the tool and grow within the tool for many years to come.
All right, that's awesome. So I don't know about you, I'm super impressed to see the speed and security that they talked about that was enabled by this cloud-native approach that they've moved to. Pretty cool. And I'm here to say that this is our recommended approach. Now is the time to adopt a cloud-native management approach. By doing so, you can accelerate your time to value by getting employees up and running faster than ever before. You can manage and protect applications to stay current. You can get a real-time view of what's going on in your device estate. And of course, you can apply policies in minutes to help you get and stay ahead of cybercriminals. Okay, shifting gears, we are also helping organizations unify their endpoint management and security operations in the cloud with the Microsoft Intune suite. Thousands of organizations have unified remote support tools in Intune with remote help and ServiceNow integration already. They balance security and productivity with endpoint privilege management by allowing everyone to run as standard user, an incredibly important step in a zero-trust security architecture. For employees who need access to on-premises resources from personal mobile devices, Microsoft Tunnel for mobile application management provides a micro VPN for users automatically, even on personally owned devices. And, of course, we offer advanced analytics with anomaly detection for increased visibility with things like device timelines. And here at Ignite, we are announcing the next set of Intune suite solutions will be available in February 2024. Those are going to be advanced analytics, cloud PKI, and enterprise application management. So let me start with advanced analytics. We're building on the advanced analytics already in the Intune suite with new capabilities that provide deeper and more granular insights so that you can discover unreported issues proactively and improve device performance and end user experience before users even have to complain about it. The Intune Advanced Analytics is the cornerstone of a data-driven platform. It provides new device inventory querying for near real-time assessment of the device estate. Really excited to bring this to the suite. And finally, battery health insights will support sustainability goals while enabling remote work, device longevity, and of course, improved hardware purchase decisions. The second of the new solutions is Cloud PKI. And anybody who has managed a PKI service before knows the value this is going to bring. Cloud PKI will allow you to manage your certificates where you manage the rest of your endpoints directly in Intune. This is an end-to-end and lifecycle management solution that will allow you to create and revoke and manage certificates for end users, completely removing the complexity associated and the cost associated with on-premises PKI installations. Really excited about this one. And finally, we understand the challenge of keeping your endpoint estate, including your apps, current. So our new enterprise app management solution will reduce the time and effort of discovering and packaging and deploying apps with an enterprise app catalog, streamlining updates to keep devices current and stable. So, our customers have been eagerly awaiting the arrival of these additions to the suite, and I could not be more excited to get them into your hands in February. All right. Okay, shifting gears to Mac management. So our cross-platform approach is, of course, not just limited to PCs. We're here to make sure that you can manage all of your devices in one place. And so this year specifically, we've really accelerated the delivery of functionality for enterprise Mac management. We now offer a comprehensive set of capabilities that customers tell us they need to fully consolidate their entire estate in Intune, including Macs. So this reduces cost and overhead of managing multiple different platforms and on-premises solutions as well. From device enrollment automation to single sign-on, which is incredibly cool, to app management, we've made it easy to keep your Macs up to date and protected in Intune. So great keynotes have two things, statistics and demos. And so we are now going to go to a demo. I'm going to invite Jeff Pinkston, also known as Pinky, one of our engineering directors, to come show you new capabilities in Intune.
What's up, Steve? Hi, everybody. Well, now I have to enter my PIN. There you go. I'm the demo boy today. As Steve said, managing Macs is an essential component of what Intune does. So I'm going to show you a few settings that will make things more secure and easy to manage corporate-owned Mac devices. So I've created in my test tenant, Pinky Home, an enrollment profile for Mac devices. Let me show you two new settings here: await final configuration and locked enrollment. These two settings prevent a user from logging into the device until the device is fully enrolled and all the required policies and applications are installed. I'll scroll down and show you some other additional settings. Here, we allow you to predefine how the local user account is going to be set up on the Mac device. You'll notice I'm using variables that pull data from the enter ID of the user and pre-configure that. Now, that's the enrollment profile. Let me also show you some new settings that are in the settings catalog. Here, I'm setting up single sign-on. Now, there's a bunch of configurations here. You're going to have to go search the internet for those for now. But what this does is it allows me to set up my local user account with my enter ID such that any applications I use that use Entra to authenticate will automatically sign in when I'm signed in as my local user. Now, between the enrollment profile and these settings, let me show you how this works on an actual Mac device. So here I am. I'm in the Setup Assistant. I'm going to go ahead and start the enrollment. I'm going to sign in with my Enter ID, and of course, I have MFA turned on. Now, at this point, all the policies and applications that I've deployed as an admin to that device are being installed. Once that completes, I'm now going to set up my local user account. Now, you'll notice the username and the full name is grayed out because remember, I defined those already in my enrollment profile. So I'm going to enter the password, and then I'm going to enter into the desktop. Now, at this point, I'm not done. I still need to synchronize my local account with my Enter ID. So I'm going to log in with my local account. It's going to re-authenticate, ask me for my Enter ID. Of course, MFA will kick in. And now, one last time, my local user account. And now at this point, I'm logged in and synchronized such that when I run Outlook, it already knows who I am, and I can get into my email. Yeah, come on, my ego needs it. There you go. OK, so Outlook got on the desktop. How did that happen? Well, let me jump back, and I'll just show you also that I had created an Outlook app deployment. Now, I'm not going to go into this in detail, but let me just show you some of the new capabilities here. We now support pre-install scripts and post-install scripts. So you can effectively do anything before and after an install for any type of complex installation requirement on Mac devices. Now, if you have done app configuration in Intune, it requires quite a bit of expertise. So let me just give you a highlight of the enterprise app catalog that Steve talked about. So here, I'm going to go into the enterprise catalog, and I'm going to pick my favorite app. Anybody want to guess? Yes, it's Amazon AWS command line interface. And I'm going to pick a version, and I'm going to select that. Now, what's awesome about this is I don't have to know this information. The app catalog fills it in for me. So I have the app info, the program details, the requirements, the detection rules, et cetera. It's all there. And now I just have to assign it to whatever users and devices that I want to deploy to. So I showed you a few settings that make managing the device easier and a little more secure, briefly talked about pre- and post-install scripts, and then showed you a bit of the app catalog. With that, I'll turn it back over to Steve.
Awesome. All right, thank you, Pinky. Careful there. All right, so pretty fun stuff, very cool stuff that Pinky and his dev team have been building just for you over the last year here. Okay, up to now we've focused mostly on cloud management for Windows and Mac, which is great innovation. It will transform your IT operations. But I can't leave you here without talking a little bit about frontline workers, because there's an enormous number of frontline workers in the world. Most large enterprises have frontline workers that have historically been underserved by our technology, and we have done a lot of work to address that. So I'm going to share a few more recent developments that are going to highlight how Intune will help you manage your FLW estate. First things first, shared device mode, a new mode that's a cooperation between Entra and Intune, together with managed home screen, offers the best multi-user device experience with the application level protections you need to allow a device to be passed back and forth between users between shifts. The second one, remote help for Android, allows IT to remotely access a device for an unattended session to troubleshoot without having to interrupt a frontline worker during their shift. It's an unattended remote access that'll be important. The next one, obviously innovating on top of Apple's single sign-on extension that you just saw, we have built just-in-time registration and compliance remediation right into the apps. So what this does is it removes the company portal and Defender and Authenticator, as much as I love all of those apps, it removes them from the enrollment process, and it eliminates the switching back and forth between apps that users had to do in order to get up and running. So now you wind up with a seamless onboarding experience for your users. And then another awesome improvement is the ability to specify an update to install at a specific time, down to the second. Frontline workers have got to be confident that an update isn't going to get triggered while they're mid-shift, of course. And so they can actually, from their device, they can register for a required software update to install at a specific time long after their shift is ended. We also support support specialty devices, the specialty device needs of frontline workers. So for example, AR and VR headsets, also ruggedized devices, many of which run on the Android open source project, or AOSP. And then in addition to device management and protection of these devices, we now support line of business app management. So simplified app and endpoint management, consolidation, all in one cloud-based solution designed for you to power better experiences for employees, including frontline workers. Now is the time to adopt a cloud-only approach. The pound of cure you need to defend yourself against, at machine speed against cyber threats and to simplify your operations. Okay, now I want to invite Ramya back up to the stage. And she's going to transition from the evolution of modern endpoint management to innovation in intelligent cloud management. Ramya.
Well, thank you, Steve. We talked about modern application management in a cloud-native environment, and this spans whether it is enterprise application management with Intune Suite, complex application management for Mac devices in Intune, or management of line of business applications. We are bringing together both foundational and advanced capabilities so that you can manage your applications and devices simply and securely. With that in mind, I would like to walk you through what intelligent endpoint management looks like based on a single unified source of data, and how to take it further from prevention and go beyond to detection and response. With increasing cybersecurity threats, defending your organizations at machine speed is of increasing value and a necessity. By building your end-user computing platform in the cloud, you can create and leverage a single source of data. For Intune, that means bringing together all your endpoint data together in one platform, and this spans applications, devices, policies, firmware, and more, all brought together in the cloud. Now, enabling a defense-in-depth strategy requires a more comprehensive and an end-to-end unified solution. Modern attackers are expanding their reach and targeting the seams between your security tools. Now, as Steve mentioned, Microsoft Intune integrates closely with Microsoft Defender and Microsoft Entra to eliminate those seams and enable end-to-end security solutions for your end users. Now, some examples are where you can use Intune to configure device-level security controls, such as security baselines and more, and Entra uses those security signals as inputs to conditional access to gate access to your corporate resources. Microsoft Defender sends Intune risk signals that can be used also as compliance policies towards conditional access. One more such example is where you use Intune to target Defender policies to servers using Entra security groups, just as you would target your mobile devices or desktops. Now, near real-time signals and exchange of signals between Intune, Defender, and Entra enable you to respond to these security threats quickly. You can see how you can bring together your IT and security teams to respond to these issues quickly and efficiently based on a unified data set. Now, Steve talked about our advanced analytics solution and how we are introducing new capabilities to discover the details that you need to investigate potential vulnerabilities and issues that may be affecting your devices. We are introducing a new device query capability that will enable you we are introducing a new device query capability that will be generally available first as part of a February release of the Intune suite. Now, this capability allows you to create device pivots so that you can query the device in near real time to aid in your troubleshooting needs. Now, for natively cloud-managed devices, Windows devices, what this does is offers a real-time exploration of a machine's operational state. Now, this spans hardware configurations, things like your memory usage, and software configurations, which is your install applications, registry keys, networking settings, and the like. Now, with your data managed natively in the cloud, you can access the most up-to-date state of your device and information, so your troubleshooting is fast and efficient. For customers who have used CM Pivot with Config Manager, you're probably familiar with the Custo query language and the console interface. Let me invite Pinky back to show you what this looks like in Intune.
Thanks, everybody. I'm excited to show device query experience today to all of you. Let's start with a scenario. Let's suppose I'm an admin and I have an executive call me. I'm sure you all love that when that happens. And she just read an article about PCs being compromised. So I want to assure her that her desktop is safe. So this is device query. You'll notice a set of entities here that I can use for reference on the information that I can go query about. Here's the text experience where I can enter a Custo query, KQL, and then I can run that. So let's see what that looks like. Let's suppose I want to go and figure out if Defender is running on her machine. So I'm going to go query that device as process is running, and I'm going to look for a name of a process that is Defender, which is this name right here. And I'm then going to go ahead and run that. Now, this is going directly to her device, querying it, and bringing back the results. And at this point, I'm pretty calm and confident that she's protected, right? Because it's running on the device, it says it's active, and now I can move forward. But then I see this thing that says BitLocker info. And I think to myself, well, I deployed that a long time ago. So I'm going to go query BitLocker on her device as well. And when I run that, then I panic. Uh-oh. Protection status is set to 0. I must not have deployed that policy. So I don't want to call her back. So right now, I need to figure out how to remediate that. Well, I'll show you how to do that a little later. I'm going to turn it back over to Ramya right now.
All right. Thank you, Pinky.
Stay tuned.
This new functionality built in the cloud is pivotal, connecting you to the next level of detail that you need and without any on-premises infrastructure. Now, we are not going to stop at the ability to query a single device. You're going to see this functionality continue to evolve, where we allow you the ability to query a fleet of devices and do so across all your device platforms. You can access and aggregate the details of all your cloud-managed devices with this intuitive query language right from within the console and take immediate action based on the results. Now, we're building this on top of Intune's new data platform and extensible inventory service, one of the richest sources of data informed by our data collection policies. We have an optimized data ingestion pipeline that provides low latency processing of this data and transforms it right from the minute the data hits the cloud into a format that allows you to have an easy iterative drill down into the details. And all of this functionality is available to you without deploying any additional agents or infrastructure in your environment. We've heard your feedback to make reporting flexible and up to date, and we believe this investment is going to enable your reporting needs without needing any expensive third-party tools. All right, I'm going to switch gears and talk about AI and automation. So I'm going to walk you through how AI and automation can enable you to do more with less time and effort, and how intelligent endpoint management can enable your IT and security teams to better prevent, detect, and respond to security issues and reduce the risk of security breaches. Security Copilot, now in early access, allows for this continuous assessment and posture improvement with real-time visibility and context to respond to threats with speed using natural language. Now, imagine all the endpoint data from Microsoft Intune combined with the billions of signals from across the Microsoft cloud to inform the large language model to provide you with the ultimate assistive experience. Now, in addition to the endpoint data, using user context data from solutions such as Endpoint Privilege Management, Enterprise, the Advanced Analytics solution, you can harness the power of your data with this assistive security copilot experience to swiftly respond to incidents because you have the full context of both the user and the device. For instance, you can compare devices of a user, you can assess the risk level of specific users, you can expand that analysis to all your user groups, and then you can take some corrective actions such as deploying additional security configuration to improve the security posture of your organization. To add more, imagine harnessing the power of this generative AI capability right from where you are in the Intune Admin Center. Today, we are announcing the embedded experience of Security Copilot in Intune. Now, coming over the next few weeks and available to select customers in preview, you will have the ability to see Copilot directly in the Intune Admin Center, where you can reason over your data in real time and provide insights. It provides you context, and you can do so with natural language. This is really to enable you to get time back so you can use it and focus on your core business. Security Copilot in Intune will use natural language to help you troubleshoot devices, taking away the need for you to scour through various sources of information to figure out what may be the issues that may be impacting your devices. This whole process of troubleshooting is now going to be streamlined so that you can enable your end users to be productive as quickly as possible. We are also going to add the capability to create policies based on your intent. Now, the AI assistance in Intune is going to give you both the information about these settings so you can learn more about them, and it is going to recommend Microsoft best practices and recommendations for these settings. In addition, you can also determine the potential impact of deploying the settings in your organization. Let me invite Pinky back to show you what that looks like.
All right, here we go, part 2. Let's go. All right, remember my problem? I forgot to deploy BitLocker. So here's what I'm going to do. I could go search the internet. What is the setting that I need to go deploy? And read a bunch of documentation, create a policy, and deploy that. But let's see how Copilot can help me, the embedded Copilot. So here I am in device configuration and policies. Once I click that, you'll notice a new icon, Copilot. Now, what that gives me is the ability to make natural language and ask about something that's specific to Intune. So I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to ask it to help me figure out what policies I need to deploy in order to turn on BitLocker. And I don't even have to use the term BitLocker. I can just say, I want to generate a device encryption policy. And it comes back with an answer. It tells me what policy I need to set. And I can even go ahead and click on the draft policy. And once I do that, it automatically creates the policy for me. So now, BitLocker is configured, it's enabled, and now I can go ahead and assign that to a set of devices and or users and deploy that. So now let's see what that looks like. So I've deployed it, I come back to device query, and now I'm going to run that same BitLocker query, KQL. So when I run that, it's going to, again, go to my executive's desktop. It's going to come back with a result. I'm still a little panicked because protection status is still set to 0. But notice the device is being encrypted. It's 73% done. I'm going to go call my mom, check in on what's going on in her life. I'm going to come back, write another query. This time I'm going to run it, and now it's completed. When it comes back, it will tell me that the encryption is at 100%. My device is fully protected. So I have remediated the device that I found where I had forgotten to deploy BitLocker. Now, you could say, well, Copilot's really cool. I can use that to create policies. But what if I don't even know how to write KQL? Well, we will also enable, for those of you who don't want to go learn yet another programming language, I can just ask, hey, show me all the processes that are running on this device with the most memory. And we'll spit out the KQL for you. And if you'd like, you can click Add and Run, and we'll even go ahead and put that in the text editor. We'll execute it for you. And we wait for the results coming back from the device, and there you go. So I've used Copilot to both generate policies as well as to help me writing queries, and there will be lots of other ways that Copilot will be able to assist you. With that, I'll turn it back to Ramya.
Well, thank you, Pinky. We are so excited to share these AI capabilities, and I hope it's exciting to you as well. It really shows the continuous innovation we have in the product. Generative AI is really shaping up a new era of end-user computing, of end-user productivity, and how you and your teams manage the endpoints in your organization. The integrated value of Intune, of Microsoft 365 and security is most powerful when you build your entire digital estate in the cloud. This spans Windows lifecycle to your cloud-managed Macs, to mobile platforms, to solutions for your workers in the front line. Intune is really poised in this new era of AI. We thank you and really appreciate the trust and responsibility you've given us to help you achieve more. We have more coming up at Ignite. Be sure to watch our colleagues here talk about fortified security and simplification coming together with Microsoft Intune tomorrow. I also invite you to check out the demos of Copilot in Intune and Enterprise Application Management as part of Ignite. Now, to learn even more about what's new and next in Intune, please join us from November 27th to November 30th for Intune and Windows Technical Takeoff, where the product managers and engineers who build the product will share deep technical insights about the upcoming capabilities in Intune and Intune Suite and in Security Copilot. With that, I thank you for your time and attention.